Hi, I'm Emily Johnson, and I've taught at 2-year and 4-year colleges for 17 years. So perhaps as long as you've been alive, if you're watching my video. And it's fall, it's the start of a new school year for many people. And in this video, I would like to tell you some things that your professor wishes they could tell you. Actually, it's what your professor wishes you already knew before you got to her class. So the first one, and I think this may be the most important, is you need to ask for help. It is not the professor's job to come to every student and say, do you understand this? Are you doing okay? Do you need help with anything? If you are confused, if you have questions, raise your hand in class, go to office hours. That's on you. That's one of your responsibilities as a student, just every bit as much as showing up in class. And if you ask questions, if you go to office hours, your professor will see that you are trying really hard. They will want to help you. That is how they see that you are working hard, that you are making an effort. And they may be more sympathetic when it comes time to maybe rounding a grade up a teeny little bit. Not all professors do that, and don't expect a professor to round your grade up by like 5%, because that's not going to happen. But if you ask them for help, they can see that you are trying really hard. That's a good thing. We like it when people try really hard. Number two, your professor is not going to remind you of every assignment or test or project. They're not going to say, now everybody needs to study really hard this weekend because we have a big test on Monday morning. They're going to give you a schedule or syllabus, maybe not even a paper copy, maybe an online version. It's your problem to remember that, not theirs. Whether you have a calendar on your phone or even an old-fashioned paper calendar, you're supposed to remember all of that and realize, oh, I have a test next week, so I need to start studying now. Accordingly, time management is essential, and it's not the professor's problem. The fact that you have 5 or 6 classes and all of them have stuff due at the same time is not going to impress the professor. If you say, I didn't get my homework done because I was studying for my calculus midterm, the teacher's going to say, my class isn't as important as calculus. This is not something you want to say to your professor. So another thing that they think you should already know is plagiarism is a huge deal. So I'm recording this in 2022. We've seen during the pandemic a lot of students who are really stressed. Maybe they're not as able to concentrate on their classes as much as we would like them to. Maybe they are not as academically prepared because they had a year or longer of classes that were all online. But we've seen a lot of problems with plagiarism on essays. This is a huge, big deal. It will get you kicked out of college. No kidding, no exaggeration. So if you're writing an essay and you cut and paste a couple sentences from an article online, that is not okay. That is not allowed. That is plagiarism. If you're not sure what plagiarism is, I'm absolutely certain that at your school, there is a writing system, a writing tutor, maybe there's free tutoring. There's somebody you can go to for help. If not, I'm sure you can look up online. The University of Chicago has a nice website about plagiarism, but you can look it up and figure out how to cite your sources and how to avoid plagiarism. This is a huge, big deal, and your professors assume you all know that. Even if they spend a long time explaining how to write an essay in class, they're going to assume that you know that you cannot cut and paste even a single sentence. And also stuff like you take 2 or 3 words in the middle of the sentence and you hit the stars and you change those words, that's still plagiarism. That is not okay. That is a huge problem. You will get kicked out of class, you will lose scholarships, and you can get kicked out of college for this. Truly big problem. Another thing that your professors wish you already knew is this is not high school. It's going to be different. It's going to be harder. We hate it when people whine to us. This is so much harder. In high school, my teacher let me do such and such. In high school, I always got A's. In high school, yeah, that was high school. This is college. They're not the same. And we hate when you say that. This is so much harder than high school because it's not high school. I know I seem really mean and scary, but I'm telling you these things so you don't make your real professor mad at you, right? You need to know how to teach yourself to a certain extent in college. If your professor says, go read this chapter, and you don't understand the chapter, your professor is going to expect you to have done more than read the chapter once or tried to read part of it and give up before you go and ask them for help. I know I said you should ask your professor for help, but if you haven't read the chapter and you ask for help, that professor is not going to be real happy to help you. So this is kind of related to if the professor tells you to do something like read the chapter, solve the problems, you should probably do what they told you, even if you're really smart and maybe don't need as much practice as some students do. Even if they didn't say this is going to be on the test, even if they just said do problems 5 through 9, and you said, do we have to turn them in? And they said, no, you should still do problems 5 through 9, I'm telling you. So you should be able to study, review, take notes from the lectures, maybe take notes from the book. Do you know how to do that? Have you ever tried that? Those are things that you should be doing that your professor should not say, yeah, you should write this down. You should take notes. This might be on the test. Trust me, it might all be on the test. No matter what they say, it might be on the test. So that's kind of part of your role, is to teach yourself. If you're assigned to do problems, if you're assigned to read the chapter, if you're assigned to go interview your roommate about what they think about current events, those are things that you're supposed to do outside of the classroom, not during class time. And if you haven't done them, don't complain that you don't have an A. I know, like I said, I sound really, really mean, but it's much better for me to tell you this than for you to make your professor mad at you. And then, like I mentioned, time management, stress management is going to be more important than it was in high school. This is going to be important for you. And unfortunately, a lot of professors don't think it's their job to help you with stress or mental health issues or even time management problems. They think they're only supposed to teach you their one little subject. If this is a math class, they teach you math. If this is an English class, they teach you English. They don't really think it's their job to teach you how to study, how to manage your time, how to blow off stress. And yes, I do end up with students in my office crying because they're so stressed. And I'm glad they asked for help, and I'm glad I can try to help them. But many professors just feel that that's not really their job. So you need to figure out how to do all of these things before you're in your professor's office crying. I'm sure your school, your university, your college has mental health counseling, mental health resources. If nothing else, there's probably a support group where students talk to each other about how they manage stress. And college is really stressful. It's worse now that it costs so much. You don't know how you're going to pay off your student loans. You don't know what kind of job you're going to get when you're out of there. You don't know how epidemic diseases are going to affect your education or your career prospects. This just adds to the ordinary stress of how do I get decent grades? What do I major in? How am I going to get this all done? How am I going to have time to do my homework and work so I can afford to go to school? This is stressful. You need to be patient and gentle with yourself, and you need to find ways to cope with that stress. So, very quick review. You have to reach out and ask your professors for help. They will not expect to ask you, are you doing okay? Do you need help? They won't always remind you of your assignments and responsibilities. You need to keep up with those on your own. Plagiarism, really, really bad. Don't do it. This is not high school. It's going to be harder than high school. I'm looking at my notes over here, by the way. That's what. Also, my cute dog is over there too. You need to learn how to teach yourself. I know you're paying big bucks for them to teach you something, but you got to take some of the responsibility onto yourself. If the professor tells you to do something like read the assignment, then that's on you. You read the assignment. And yes, stress management is on you. A lot of responsibilities, very different than high school. I hope you found this video helpful, and good luck on your new semester and on your college career.